And by the way, did Ray Allen do Rajon Rondo dirty in his new book? Don't touch that dial. Hour number 2 in the house. Coming at you on First Take. Let's do it.
Stephen A., I got more for you. Coming off a blowout loss to the Lakers, the injury-riddled Cavaliers try to get back on track tonight as they continue their West Coast trip against the Suns. Unfortunately for Cleveland, no help in sight as Kevin Love is still 2 to 3 weeks out from returning. The Cavs find themselves in 4th place in the East, 11 games behind first-place Raptors, who have won 15 of their last 16. They are balling, Stephen A. Is Toronto now the favorite in the East?
No, not in my estimation. And I don't mean any disrespect, particularly to the greatness of Masai Ujiri and the GM, and along with Dwayne Casey, who I think has proven to be one of the great coaches in the NBA. DeMar DeRozan can ball. I've always been a fan of Kyle Lowry. He and I go back to his days at Villanova when I was writing for the Philadelphia Inquirer. He's a special young man, but they got to prove themselves in the postseason. As long as LeBron James is in the Eastern Conference, come playoff time, he is the favorite. It's just that simple. All of this trouble that the Cleveland Cavaliers have, I haven't seen Kevin Love in the lineup. I didn't see Kevin Love out there. I didn't see those struggles with Kevin Love 100% healthy. He had physical injuries. Now we learned that he has some mental issues as well, and we wish him nothing but the best. That's my man. Love Kevin Love. But the bottom line is that was the situation. Now, come April, May, and June, this is the time, and I've said this on many occasions, LeBron James has graduated to a point where, in terms of his on-court ability, I'm not talking about his leadership because he should have found a way to keep Kyrie in Cleveland, but that's neither here nor there at this point. As a talent on the basketball court, LeBron James has graduated to a point where he does not deserve to be judged before April. And that's where I'm at with it. It ain't April yet. It ain't mid-April to be specific as far as I'm concerned. Once the playoffs begin, that's where you judge a dude that's been to 7 or 8 straight NBA finals. A guy that is universally recognized as the best in the world, that's been to the finals, for the last 8 years. Excuse me, I'm not concerned.
But he was always a 1 or 2 seed
7 years,
in those instances.
I'm not concerned about it. Home court advantage means absolutely nothing to LeBron James. He will be fine. And when you look at the Eastern Conference, I'm sorry, there is no one who definitively deserves to be a favorite over LeBron. I didn't say Cleveland.
Yep.
I said over LeBron James. They don't deserve it. I'm not giving it to
Max?
Stephen A. is actually taking the wise approach here because the NBA season, year in and year out, it's a roller coaster ride. And in the end, you get to exactly where you thought you'd be most seasons in the beginning, which is, oh, those 2 teams, we thought they'd be there in the end. Or 2 of those 3 teams, we thought they'd be there in the end. Sometimes there are exceptions. I believe this season is shaping up to be a genuine exception. Not the kind where I'm just fooled for a minute, but a genuine exception. In the Western Conference, the Houston Rockets basically never lose when they're healthy. And I think it's going to be hard for anyone, including the Warriors, to beat them 4 out of 7. I don't know who I'd make the favorite at this moment in that series. And while Stephen A., you are parroting the orthodoxy, like this is the wisdom through the ages in the NBA is, if LeBron has some other players, at least he has one other all-star in Kevin Love, if he's healthy and most of himself, and a decent enough roster, he'll drag them kicking and screaming to the finals. He's done it every single year. Sometimes there are exceptions. I recall the Dallas Mavericks getting hot in the playoffs and smoking the rest first of the West, smoked the defending champion Lakers, and then won the whole thing. It happens sometimes where there is a surprise team. And in the Eastern Conference this season, I'm beginning to think it is, in fact, the Toronto Raptors, partly because of their excellence. You mentioned Dwayne Casey, great job. Masai Ujiri, I give the lion's share of the credit for that team, too. He, as I say, and Danny Ainge, the battle will be between those 2 teams, the Celtics and the Raptors, going forward, because those are the smartest 2 GMs or president of basketball operations, whatever his title is now. What a roster he assembled, even changed the philosophy of the team, DeRozan shooting threes, all of that. Motion in the offense, a starting 5, but then 5, 6 guys off the bench who are basically another starting 5, but they're coming off the bench, destroying the rest of the league. I understand your hesitance, Stephen A., because when it matters most, DeRozan and Lowry in the playoffs have come up short. And I've mentioned on this show many times now.
I'm not hesitant at all.
Right, I understand. But you understand my point. as great as the Raptors have been, they're up 15 points, it doesn't matter. But in close, tight games, I noticed they start ISOing, Lowry and DeRozan, and they don't get it done because ISOing is generally a bad idea with the game on the line. But, those two guys aren't LeBron James. So I understand the hesitance to say they are the favorites. Toronto is the favorite. But at a certain point, you got to look who they're playing. The Celtics are injured and uneven this season. And the Cavs, LeBron doesn't have anything other than Kevin Love. Those other pieces are nice, but none of them are surefire. That's a starter on a championship team. He's got one of those guys in Kevin Love. Everyone else is a rotation piece. I don't know if they're good enough.
I think they are, and the reason why is by default, because I don't think there's a superstar in the Eastern Conference outside of Kyrie Irving that you can pencil in as a person who can definitively get that done for you. And if Gordon Hayward was there, I'd probably feel different. But because he's not there, I think that they're a man short in Boston at this particular juncture. When I look at Toronto, I'm looking at Kyle Lowry, and when you have you don't have back-to-backs and you have off nights and you're practicing for one team in a best-of-7 series, Kyle Lowry has had trouble, particularly against bigger guards, when it comes to his perimeter shot-making ability in the postseason. DeMar DeRozan, we've made a lot of noise about how he's improved his shot, no doubt, but he's still only shooting about 26% from three-point range, so he's still not doing that. And in terms of who deserves most credit, in terms of Masai or Dwayne Casey, here's why I give it to Dwayne Casey. I appreciate what Masai has done in assembling the squad, but this is relatively the same squad that got bounced out of there in unceremonious fashion by Cleveland last year. It's a situation now where Dwayne Casey has coached these guys up, and the same personnel looks exponentially better than they did last year. And that's where Dwayne Casey deserves credit. That is coaching.
But Ujiri is the guy who said, no, we have to change our offense, and brought in, what's his name, the coach whose name is escaping me right now.
How do you know that? How do you know it wasn't Dwayne Casey that went to him and made that suggestion?
It's been reported widely that Ujiri thought things had to change.
I'm telling you something a little bit different. That's all I'm saying. I got you.
Understood. I'm not doubting your sources. Right. But nevertheless, an additional coach was brought in to address the offense, and I apologize because his name is escaping me and it shouldn't be right now. And just by having DeMar DeRozan, to matter of fact, Zach Lowe, I believe, has something on ESPN.com right now about this. Just by having DeMar DeRozan take those threes, it's not even that he has to convert them at a very high rate, but just by taking them opens up the offense. And if you look at the Raptors, we don't need to argue about who deserves the most credit. Obviously, the organization has come together in a very, very good way. When you look at the Raptors, they score, they defend. In crunch time, of course, I trust LeBron more than anyone on the Raptors. What I'm saying is the way this is going right now, who says there will be a crunch time if the Raptors play the Cavs? The Raptors may be ahead by double digits toward the end of the game. There may not come a crunch time.
We'll see.
We have to see what Kevin Love looks like when he gets back.
Yep.
We'll see.
Raptors have the best home record, the only team that's top 5 in offensive and defensive efficiency right now. We will leave it there. Still to come, Jay Williams joins the debate desk to go through his Final Four picks. Stay tuned for that. Plus, Texas head coach Shaka Smart joins the show to talk about the Longhorns' chances in the tournament. But first, how about some bracket help? It's Dickie V, baby.